Hey guys. So, honestly, this isn't going to be much of a review if I'm being honest. It's just going to be kind of geeking out a bit because the week leading up to this episode, I, like so many others, had expectations, but rather than focus solely on those expectations going into this episode, I made a little prediction, which is that if Chapter 1000 had the biggest turning point moment for the series, then I imagined episode 1000 would go more in the direction of being like the bigger event. And I don't even mean necessarily in how the episode was marketed or advertised, but more the events within the episode itself would be so big and so bombastic, it would basically compensate for whatever criticism we would have going about the episode itself, like including the most common one we have, which is pacing. And we as the viewer would forgive that problem as long as like the spectacle of the episode itself met the expectation of it being the 1000th episode. So I went into this episode with that mindset, and I not only came out of it feeling like the episode exceeded those expectations, like our animation was phenomenal, but for this episode, but in some ways revisiting this material and how it was adapted in this episode only succeeded in enhancing it, and seeing each moment like build on top of each other, leading the Straw Hats coming together in that final shot. It it really it was kind of a moment that in itself that was treated in such a way where it felt like a tribute celebration of the Straw Hats' long journey to get to this point, and by extension a celebration of our journey as well, of even getting to this point, and sticking with these characters for so long, and just kind of in general why we like the Straw Hats as characters. Really, that's kind of the thing I think I got across most of all. And for me personally, Toei kind of really enhanced the emotional weight of the Straw Hats coming together in such a way where it felt not only did it feel a lot more impactful than how I thought about this scene initially when reading the manga, but now it's got so much more significance in the sense where we've been following these characters for so long, and seeing where they started, how their journey has gone, and how it's led them to here. It did make it all the more like impactful, like to me. Like this is an episode that really fucking preys on your nostalgia and practically stabs you in stabs it. And I just kind of I really I like it relished in the nostalgia of One Piece for us, and I kind of appreciate that, weirdly enough. um and Yeah, obviously we have to talk about that opening where Toei basically remastered the We Are opening into a more New World, like Wano aesthetic version. Uh, like, it really shows that Toei was not content to just go all out on the episode itself. No, they had to stab us in the nostalgia gland as well, and yeah, it got the feelings going heavy. Like it actually kind of got more. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little more than a little choked up seeing what they did with this version of the opening, and that's not even counting for how much the opening itself was a visual chef's kiss. Like, yeah, like it was that good, but again, going off something I kind of repeating myself here, but going off what I said, it truly showed between the opening and the episode itself that Toei wanted to put their all into this episode, whether people thought the episode itself was worthy of being the 1000th episode or not. Like, they wanted people to see that their effort would at least make the episode worth it. And the thing that and it'd be the thing that shines most of all. And the thing is, with that opening, I've already played that opening way more times than I'd like to count, like when watching this episode. But I'm definitely going to be rewatching it many more times after this review, because this this is truly an episode that preys on our nostalgia and how it celebrates the Straw Hats as characters and what we love about them so much. Like, if nothing else, I think that is something worth celebrating in this episode. And yeah, into the episode itself, though, we basically skip over starting off strong and go straight for insane with the battle between Inuarashi and Nekomamushi versus Jack. And I'll be honest, just within that brief little scuffle, I think the anime is making Jack out a little bit more of a threat than he wasn't at this point in the story, where he was becoming he was just getting tossed around a lot, which, don't get me wrong, is still going to happen a lot from here on out. But I'm at least glad we do get to see Jack having a few more moments like in this episode to compensate just a little tiny bit for the fact that out of all of Kaido's three main fighters, like Queen, King, and Jack is the one who kind of got the short end of the stick, and he's the one who's going to get tossed around. You're going to see Jack get tossed around a lot after this episode, but it's like, looking back, I understand why it was that they did that. Like, the one focal point that I think Oda at the time wanted to get across is that the Minx was that Jack was the Minx enemy, and that anything that happens to him is going to be by their hand. It's his comeuppance, it's his karma for what he did to Zoe, and in that sense, it is good. But I do admit, like, Jack himself, he ended up being kind of a sacrificial pawn in that sense, because he's not exactly gonna come out of this looking all that strong, frankly. Then again, I guess another way you could look at it is he was already kind of, his whole shtick of being one of Kaido's top fighters was already kind of damaged after getting his ass whooped by the elephant of Zoe itself. So I guess it all balances out. Never mind. And yeah, obviously we do need to talk about the flashback montage we got of all the Straw Hats, which I'm not gonna lie, that is probably the weakest part of the episode. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's not a problem, but even that still felt a lot better in how it was utilized within this episode. Like, because on top of the fact that it barely felt like it slowed the pace, it was used as a means to showcase just how truly far the Straw Hats have come with their journey. And for better or worse, getting to look back on those moments and how they were presented really made me appreciate who the Straw Hats have become now, on top of really just celebrating what it is that we love about this misfit band of pirates and the Straw Hats. And actually, if anything, it kind of made me weirdly enough, looking at these montages, this facts, and all this stuff, it really made me appreciate Chopper, Nami, and Usopp's growth way more than I have before. And looking back on who those characters were to who they are now, really puts me kind of in that awkward position of having to admit just how much I've been underestimating their development. Although, seriously, Oda, you really need to kind of get on to giving Chopper a more reasonable bounty, because that low bounty gag shit is really getting old. Like, seriously, give him at least 100 million berries, and I'll square the difference. Okay, it's like, seriously, just give him that much, please, soon. I'm begging you. Also, one tiny little detail I thought was really neat is that during the whole Straw Hat showcase, what Toei actually did something neat, which is they used the chibi SBS depictions Oda drew of what the Straw Hats looked like as kids, or in Brook's case when he was alive. And yeah, it's like it is kind of a neat little way of it's also just a neat little addition that really like hammers home these characters and who they are and kind of thing. But yeah, guys, that's really all I have to say. Like, there's not really much to say about this episode, but at the same time, that's kind of okay. It's really just a giant-ass celebration of who these characters are, why we pretty much love this series, why we love the Straw Hats. It was just nice in that way. It was a very nice, simple episode, honestly, and I think that's one of its strengths, honestly, is it brought back the simplicity of One Piece, I think. And but yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Analyst, Crunchyroll. Sure to the notification bell, the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. 1,000 episodes. It can only go up from here, guys. Bye.